The Ministerial Training School, or MTS as we often refer to it, is a school to give single brothers who have served as elders or ministerial servants for at least 2 years. For example, a young brother can apply for Bethel when he becomes 19 years of age. But to apply for the MTS, he must be at least 23 years of age. So he's had more experience, more background, and thus the additional training will qualify him to take on more and more responsibilities in the organization.
Well, I was able to begin regular pioneering when I was 15 years old. I really appreciated and loved the field ministry. So my goal as a young person was to attend ministerial training school. I applied to MTS when I was 21. Then I applied to MTS when I was 22. Then I applied one more time when I was 23, and I was accepted to the 65th class of ministerial training school in the fall of 2002. In just 2 months of classroom instruction, I feel that I received years and years of spiritual growth. In those 8 weeks of school, I truly became a different person. And I think all my classmates feel the same way. Those 2 months creates a strong bond of friendships between us that we'll have our whole life. It'll be interesting to see where all of us are at and how we're benefiting and assisting the organization a year from now, 10 years from now, and hopefully forever.
Well, I was raised in the truth, and I'm very grateful to my parents for that. I auxiliary pioneered for some time, but really knew I could do more for Jehovah, so I began to regular pioneer. And at 22 years of age, a good friend of mine invited me to help out in a Portuguese-speaking group. So I moved there and started to learn a foreign language. Well, after there only a short while, the circuit overseer asked my partner and I, although with a limited knowledge of Portuguese still, to help out where there was a greater need in a congregation that had only one elder, one ministerial servant, and one regular pioneer. Little did I know at that time that branching out to learn a foreign language was going to bring many blessings in the future. So I stayed there in the Portuguese congregation for about 5 years until I was accepted to the 4th class of the Ministerial Training School in 1989. I was 27 when I attended the Ministerial Training School, and at the time I thought that, well, I was a decent enough student of the Bible, but really the school taught me that we need to dig deeper into the Scriptures in order to follow principles and how to apply them in many circumstances in life. And one theme that really sticks out in my mind that we learned at the Ministerial Training School was to imitate Jesus. Imitate the way Jesus taught, imitate the way Jesus was a shepherd, how he kindly cared for God's sheep. And certainly if we were to approach every situation in life and think, how would Jesus handle this? It will help us be much more effective as shepherds and teachers.
Well, growing up in your home congregation, sometimes you take things for granted. But the school really opened my eyes to organizational procedure and arrangements that had been invisible to me before. It gave me a readjustment and a clarification of different ideas and attitudes and understandings of things. You really start to comprehend that Jehovah's organization is so important and to appreciate any privilege that it extends to you. If you really apply yourself, MTS is a great jumpstart to your usefulness to Jehovah and to the brotherhood.
The Ministerial Training School also taught me much about how to handle organizational matters that if I was to have learned that on my own would have taken me many years. In fact, in this regard, it really comes to mind how the principle in 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 6, which has really stuck with me for many years, which says, "Do not go beyond the things that are written. For surely if we do, we often get ourselves into much trouble. And we're much more successful in our counseling and in our teaching if we follow what's written in the Scriptures and in the Christian publications."
Well, after graduation, I was assigned back to my home congregation. However, I could not believe it. Just 3 weeks later, I was assigned to the Russian congregation in Pennsylvania. Now, I had no prior exposure to the Russian language, but in a relatively short period of time, I began to give parts at every meeting in the Russian language. Now, it's only been a little over a year now, so I can't say that I'm fluent at all, but I usually understand what's being said to me, and can communicate my thought to Russian householders and to the friends.
At graduation, I received a missionary assignment to the country of Swaziland, which is located in Africa. Now, I was very excited to receive that assignment, but I must say I was a bit surprised too. It seemed strange because I had learned Portuguese and they don't speak Portuguese there in Swaziland. But after a year and a half serving there, the ban had lifted on our work in Mozambique, and I was reassigned to Mozambique where they do speak Portuguese. I served there in the missionary field as well as at Bethel, and I enjoyed many wonderful faith-strengthening and sometimes adventurous experiences. And after serving 9 years in Africa, I transferred back to the United States. I was pioneering and supported myself working as an interpreter for Portuguese. But in 2000, I was appointed as a circuit overseer, which is my present assignment, and I'm enjoying it very much. And Jehovah certainly has poured on many blessings in this regard.
We currently have an excellent ministerial training school graduate assigned to our congregation. And these brothers are real gifts from Jehovah. Single, enthusiastic, ready to do whatever's asked of them. They work hard to present high-quality meeting parts and conscientiously care for all of their assigned duties. They showed genuine personal interest in others and set an excellent example for young ones to focus on the ministry and to pursue spiritual goals. It's like having a missionary assigned to the congregation, a modern-day Timothy. We dearly love these brothers, and we really appreciate the significant part they play in the theocratic history of our congregations.
Yes, there are many privileges of service that the brothers in the organization can reach out for, but the ministerial training school is truly one way to qualify a young man's theocratic training to enable him to be given additional responsibility and to take on this responsibility at an earlier age. For example, one graduate of the ministerial training school who is now in the circuit work expressed himself this way, and I quote, "Attending the school served to expand my view of the organization. Previously, I would have been content to spend my whole life in the comfort of my home congregation. Serving with the host congregation where I went to school and with the other students proved that we have family and friends in the organization wherever we serve. Friendships formed in school are still among my dearest, and this is repeated with each new assignment. I've personally seen hundreds of young men receive this training in the MTS. And as a result of the training, they, like Timothy of old, they take good care of the brothers and sisters in the congregations where they are, and they're sincere in working for the furtherance of the good news. So the school does not just teach Bible facts. It's helping these brothers to become mature, and those that see them take note that their advancement is manifest to one and all.